It's our secret. Never teach the Wu-Tang.
Alright, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Cigar Ralphie. And I didn't upload anything last week. I did record something. I did a reaction, and something happened to the computer, and whatever. It disappeared, and I got pissed. And I was like, I'm not doing this again. Well, you can't do it again because it's not really a reaction if you do it again. But anyway, today is not a reaction video. It's something I wanted to talk about because it's like all over the place and all that stuff with the whole, the whole Michael Jackson thing, leaving Neverland and all that stuff. If you've seen it, I'm sure you got your reaction to it. Actually, let me know what it is in the comments below. If you haven't seen it, I don't want to say go see it. I don't want to say go see it because to me it was like, I don't know. It was, me personally, Raphael here, I don't believe he did anything, but I don't know. I'm not a judge, jury, or whatever. I just know that in a court of law, he was found not guilty. So now all of a sudden, oh wait, I forgot. I don't know. There's a lot of things, man. But that leaving Neverland shit was crazy. You know what I mean? I saw some of it. I stopped watching it because it was like, nah, this, I don't know, man. This, you know what I mean? I'm not saying don't believe a victim or anything like that, man. But it's like, this is a little bit too deliberate, man. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's too, it's like, wait a minute, man. There's too much, there's too many variables when it comes to, and I hate to say it, somebody of this caliber where there's a lot, you got a lot of things at stake. You got a lot of fame, tons of fame, a lot of money, a lot of famous people. There's a lot at stake here so there's a lot of things that we can't leave out as much as you want to say, no, just believe the victim and that's it. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. You can't. You have to. Yeah, you got to believe them, but at the same time, you got to be open-minded to the possibility that the victim might not really be a victim, might just really be after something else. You know what I mean? It's happened. It's not like it never happens. You know what I mean? And with this thing, it's a real touchy subject for everyone. Because like me, I grew up on Mike, even on the island, when we didn't speak English, we still knew his music. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, a thing that's like, damn, you know what I mean? You don't want to. So with that being said, man, something that I was thinking when I like probably the same day or the day after, I was at work just thinking, and I watched this and I was talking with my buddy, and I said, man, I wouldn't be surprised with the state of the world that it is now, where if you stole an orange when you were 4 and you're 48 now, it's gonna come back to haunt you. You know what I mean? Not that if you did something bad, it shouldn't. Everybody should pay for their crimes, but you know what I'm saying. They hold things that you said, something petty that you said against you. You know what I mean? Things like that. That's what I'm talking. I'm not talking about if you killed somebody 10 years ago and then know, oh, you killed somebody 10 years ago, you're gonna get mad. No, I'm talking about like small, like things like that really shouldn't be, like, you shouldn't end somebody's life over. But I said to myself, man, I wouldn't be surprised if they attacked the other king. And you know what I'm talking about. I do reaction videos about his music all the time, Elvis. And I swear to you, it felt like I didn't even finish that sentence when something came up. It was a picture of Elvis and he was kissing some girls, which looked fairly young. And somebody wrote, oh, everybody's talking about Mike, but what about, we're to the point where, we're to the point where now, everybody who has done something crazy is getting caught. People who have done even minute things are getting thrown into the burner, and people are upset in every camp, and we're just now trying to find anybody, trying to find any way to justify or to feel better about ourselves if somebody in our camp gets, has some kind of accusation. We don't want them going there. Well, what about them? Well, what about them? Well, what about them? And now we're trying to dig things. We're trying to dig things up, and we don't even, we try not to research nothing or anything like that. We're just pointing fingers. And I said, and I saw this, and I was like, oh man, they went. They going like I see people posting stuff about Elvis. Oh, he married his wife at 14. But you know what though? Anyway, they're like, oh, he married. He married his wife at 14. He got his girl at 14. Well, I'm trying to research it now, and I found some interesting comments here, and I'm gonna go ahead and read some of these comments, and then I'm gonna stop at one, and maybe I stopped at this one because we all tend to kind of gravitate to whatever makes us feel good, whatever is our our comfort zone, and I think I stopped this one because this one was comfortable for me. This was kind of the answer that I'm looking for. Maybe if anybody knows if any of this is true, let me know. I didn't, because there's no way to really go back and research. Oh, was Elvis a parent? Because I mean, from the little bit that I did research, I didn't see anything. From what a little bit that I know, I never heard of Elvis being. I have, of course, he had women's. Elvis Presley. I mean, it's in the videos. Women passing out. I can imagine women would throw themselves at him. He's the king of rock and roll. Just like Michael Jackson, the king of pop, they're gonna throw themselves at him. You know what I mean? So let's go. Let me read some of these. I'm gonna stop at Lisa. That's the last one. But look at this. So was Elvis Presley a pedophile? That's what I Googled, and unfortunately went to Yahoo Answers, so I don't know how credible that is. But it said, didn't he start dating Priscilla when he was 24 and she was 14, and people call MJ a pedo? Now, some of these are very old, okay? Look at this. This one's 10 years old right here. But still, and it said, this one says, technically, yes, a 24-year-old dating a 14-year-old isn't okay, no matter how famous you are. Michael, on the other hand, was never found guilty. I believe that you are innocent until proven guilty, and believe everyone until I have a reason not to, or not to. Also, there was more evidence for why he was not found guilty, and there was no evidence for why he was not found guilty, and there was no evidence besides the kids being in the room to prove he did anything. Then the next one says, let's say for a minute that MJ was a pedophile, although I don't believe he was. I don't either. And under the same circumstances, MJ was in his 40s around the time that the last child molestation accusation. And these children were 13. And you call Elvis a pedo? But yes, Elvis seemed like a pedo because of that. The thing is, in some marriages, people have 10 plus age difference. Would that make them pedophiles too? Somebody wrote, huh? Like they didn't understand what that meant. I know exactly what that meant. He had an obsession with young girls and referred to them as cherries. They mentioned this on Antiques Roadshow. I think that was a show that was on, I don't know what, maybe A&E or something. Also, yes, a 24-year-old dating a 14-year-old is kind of a red flag. Not kind of, it is a red flag. No, nobody's going to date my 15. If you're in your, especially if you're in your mid-20s, I don't think I want you dating. Now, I don't think you're not dating my 15-year-old daughter. You got to wait till, somebody who's 16, 17, that's different. Maybe even 18, it's like your mind frame is still kind of leveled. Yeah, you got the boys that think boys think a little bit different, but still, when you're in that teenage range, you're still kind of leveled where you can level with each other. Not that things don't happen, but you can still level. When you're at an age, when you're 30 years old and she's 14, or you're 25, whatever, you're at a different thinking level where you can, since you have more experience in life, you could be more manipulative, and that's the problem. But that's why they set the age limit, because of the mentality that in general is had by somebody who's of that age versus somebody who's of the teenage, 14, 15. And from studies, I would imagine that at 18 years old is when they realize, okay, 18 is now an adult, whatever. Now that's when their mind is shifting. And yes, they don't have a lot of experience, but that's when it's shifting into adulthood, where you're thinking of, okay, now I'm out of high school and going to college, I'm doing this and that, I got to think of my life and all that, this, that, and the third. That's why they have that. But anyway, let's go ahead and read this Lisa thing here. Lisa wrote, he met Priscilla. She seems to know a lot about him. She's got a crazy picture here, man. She's got a crazy picture. Anyway, he met Priscilla when he was in the Army. She was 14 at the time, and the entire time, either her father or her father's assistants were with them. Upon his returning to Graceland, she had no contact at all for almost 4 years. So she's 14, no contact for 4 years. That would make her 18. Just before her 18th birthday, she moved to Graceland. Now, so how was he a pedophile? She also states that he never had sex with her prior to them getting married. Also, even all the women he has slept with before getting married all have stated all they did was sleep, that he would never have sex with them. I don't believe that part. That part I don't believe. All the women he slept with before getting married said he did not have sex with them. He just slept with them. I don't believe that part. I just have a hard time believing that part. But let's move on. They got married when she was 22, not 14. To all those that say Elvis was a racist, I'm black. This lady's black, Lisa, and there has never been anything racist about him. I've never heard anything racist about Elvis either. He did more to bring the racists together than any public figure. He never once said a racist comment. Never once did anything even remotely hinted. Anything remotely hinted he was racist. He grew up around black. Like, he grew up around black. His style came from black people. You know what I mean? He grew up around black people. I think he was. I'm not sure, but I think he was taught to play from a black person. You know, he played. It was from the black musicians that he grew up around. You know, and I think it was wherever he was from, Memphis or wherever. So, you know, I've never heard anything about Elvis. I never heard anything about Elvis. You know, nothing racist. I never heard, and you know, of course. And you have to look at the times also. Back, if you go back a couple years, like for example, in where I'm from, my grandmother was when my grandmother married my grandfather when he was like my grandfather was in the army. My grandmother was like what 15, 16, I think, when she had her first kid with him. They're still together. You know, he was in the army. I think he was like, maybe he was like 22, 23. She was like 15 or something like that. You know, back in the day, it was almost, I think it was normal for you to see a young person, like a young woman, 14, 15 years old, with a 20-year-old or 21-year-old, you know. That was normal. That was like a normal thing. And we all know as you keep going back, you would see that it'd be even worse. You would see them in other countries. You'd see them 30, 40 years old with a freaking 13-year-old, 14-year-old. You know what I mean? The mentality of people was a lot different before now. Now you cannot even imagine it. I cannot. I don't think anybody normal could fathom an idea of a 13 or a 14-year-old with a 30, 40, 50-year-old guy. That's just crazy. It makes you want to choke him, right? The mentality of children now is different. They're still children. The children of the past were still children, but the maturity level of the rate of maturity of people was a lot different back in the day. And I'm not excusing anything. You know what I mean? I just can't imagine allowing my 13, 14-year-old child to be with an adult. It just no. You know what I mean? The same problem I had with the whole Michael Jackson freaking the freaking Neverland crap that they made. The mothers were pissing me off because they kept saying, well, he was sleeping with Mike, and Mike, he said, I want to sleep in Mike's bedroom. I didn't see anything wrong with that. I was like, man, I'm trying not to curse too much, man. You don't want to hear all the stuff I said. Even my wife was like, is this crazy? Like, what the hell is she saying? You know what I mean? Like, what the hell? The adults that were around there that had the power to be like, nah, he could chill with you. You go to, do whatever. But y'all ain't staying in the room together by yourself. You're not even staying in the room together by yourself. You know what I mean? But If it was me, and you're not staying in the room together by yourself, that bottom line, you're not just gonna, hey, I'm gonna stay with you. You know, I'm 30 years old. I'm gonna stay with you, 8, 9, 10-year-old, 12-year-old. Nah, no. You're gonna stay. Okay, you're gonna stay in the room with the 8, 10, whatever year old, and you're also gonna have a 39-year-old with you. You know what I mean? Because that just is what it is. You know what I mean? But anyway, back to the thing. Back in the day, man, it was a different mentality. As you go back, people matured faster due to the situation. We don't have everything we have now. Now you have more an opportunity to actually be a kid with so much, you know. Yeah, well, it's kind of a seesaw. It's kind of a give and take, but it's like with so much laws we have now and things, and you know, in the country we're in, we're seeing a lot more of the pedophilia and stuff coming out, you know, and it's scary. But as if you take that out of the equation, and kids now have more of an opportunity to be kids, you know, to still be kids, and we still treat them like kids. Where back in the day, a 14-year-old was already in battle, was already in war. You know what I mean? A 13-year-old was grabbing a sword already. He was already training for war to kill people. So the mentality was a lot different. Over here, we barely want to, you know, show them a movie with a gun in it. You know what I mean? So it's a totally different mentality. You know, these kids aren't in the fields working from a young age, helping their parents on a farm, just throwing hay up in the thing or whatever, or farming large animals. They're not doing that. The kids today are not doing that. So it's different. They're not developing. They don't mature the same way that those kids did. So it's a different mentality. So to those people in the past, a 14-year-old was a grown woman. 14, 15, grown woman. 16, 17, she's already pushing it. You know what I mean? Nowadays, it's like, no. Wait till she, you know what I mean? Me personally, I've never wanted to date a young girl. Never. I've never, like, even when I was a young kid, when I was little, when I got into girls, I started looking at girls young. You know what I mean? When I was young, I was like 9, 10 years old. I was already like, wow, she's pretty. You know, I wasn't thinking like sexual or anything, but I was just like, wow, she's pretty. You know, when a pair of boobs would just make you go crazy. You know, like, oh my gosh, I can see her cleavage, I'm dying. You know, like, that's porn if her cleavage was showing. You know, but I always liked older women. I mean, I was liking women in their 30s. That's what I was looking at. I just always been like that. And I still, to this day, older. I don't know. Just older just is the thing for me. That's just me. You know what I mean? Everybody has their thing. Some, you know, but I don't even know why I added that. But anyway, it's crazy that I saw this thing, man. I saw a couple things from... This isn't just the only thing I saw, man. There was a lot of stuff from Elvis that I was just like, oh, man, don't start with that now, man. Come on. You know, because I put Elvis pedo, and then all this thing came out, you know, polling Elvis crimes that nobody seems to care about, you know. And you could check this out. You could check these out, you know. Just put Elvis pedo, and it'll come out on Google. I'm not going to leave a link to this. I don't want to start no fire or add fuel to it. But anyway... As always, man, don't forget to like, subscribe. I'll come back with more stuff. And I'm going to do more videos like this where I talk on certain things. And I'm going to put it on this channel just because I got a lot of things that I want to get over my mind and talk about. I'm still going to do reaction. This is still a reaction. Technically, I'm reacting to this. But anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe. Follow me on social media, man. And I will see you on the next smoke.